Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Campus Gridiron, Season 2, Episode 10, Week 9 of your 2024 college football season. Ladies and gentlemen, the season is going on pretty strong, and now we will head into this week with our fourth different number one ranked team. We'll get into the recaps. But first, Lennon, spending last Saturday in the swamp and seeing a 5-touchdown performance by Baugh. He was amazing. The running game was strong. DJ Lagway, of course, with the injury to Graham Mertz, he is no longer feeling that pressure of he needs to perform. He knows this is his team the rest of the season. And the Gators played arguably, outside that game against Mississippi State, arguably their best game all season.
Oh yeah, dude. That was the loudest I've heard the Swamp this year. It was 89,000, almost put 90,000 on them. It was loud. It was great. The energy was amazing. I was watching the Yankee game on my phone for a little bit of the time too, just kind of trying to pay attention to both. Listen, DJ played. I said it when we played Sanford. The team, something about the team just look. They seem to love when Lagway's behind center. I don't know why. Maybe there was something in practice that they do, but the team just seems to rally around Lagway a lot. We're going to be okay. We got a bye week and we play Georgia. I don't know how that one's going to go. But if we play the way we did against Kentucky the rest of the season, we're going to be in every one of these final games coming up. And Jaden Ball is amazing, and he is a true freshman, and I hope he never transfers because we are stacked at running back. He's our third string, by the way. And here's my fun fact I told you about. So with those 5 rushing touchdowns, he ties Trey Burton and Tim Tebow with 5 rushing touchdowns in a single game. So almost broke a Florida record. He tied Trey Burton and Tim Tebow with 5 rushing touchdowns in a single game.
Jaden Bond going for 106 and 5 touchdowns. And, of course, Montrell Johnson being a senior, you got to imagine Bond will now be the starter heading into next year, barring any crazy circumstance, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, he should. But, again, we are like 4 deep at running back. It's insane how good we are at running back. I don't know. I think Webb is just a little bit better than Ball is, but if Jaden keeps playing like this, boy, he's gonna be in the rotation for sure. But I counted them too. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, funny. There you go.
That was fun. That was probably the greatest night I've ever had in a while. So.
All right. Well, on to one team winning, on to the next. Mike is thrilled that Miami somehow remains undefeated. I was so in and out of this game. Every time it felt like I watched it, Miami was dominating. And then whenever I turned it off, Louisville would come back and make it interesting. Of course, just like a couple of Miami games, it ended in a little bit of controversy. Me and Lennon were talking about it off camera. Mike, I know what you think, but explain to our lovely audience why you think that wasn't a fumble and was the right call of an incomplete pass.
I mean, it doesn't matter how far your arm goes forwards. As long as it's going forwards, it's a forward pass.
But it wasn't going forward.
It goes forward like a centimeter. It's still going forward. So not a fumble. Going forward, not a fumble.
It was close. I know I'm biased, but I thought that ball was moving a little bit before his arm came forward. But that's neither here nor there. That was a great game to watch. Really fun. Really, really, really fun game to watch. And I took Miami might get lucky. Because they probably won't lose until they play Clemson in the ACC championship game if it continues to be this way. But Miami's going to lose soon.
Syracuse just lost 41-7. He's scared of Syracuse. Even though Pitt just beat them 41-7 last night.
Pitt, bro. Pitt's good.
Yeah, Pitt's very good.
Yeah, but
Miami's better.
Yeah, no,
It's out the top 25. They're like 27.
Not anymore. They won't be.
no. Miami should roll all over Syracuse if they play them.
I think Georgia Tech on the road would be the biggest trap game of them all. But they have who? Florida State this week?
Yeah.
This is the one game a year I root for the Miami Hurricanes. Please drop like 90 on them. Just ruin their season, even though it's already been ruined. So,
Yo, Cam Moore, do you want the Heisman? Here you go. Here's Florida State and Duke your next 2 weeks.
hey, Duke is tough. Duke is tough.
They're good. They're good. Not as good as Tennessee, though. Alabama comes into this week ranked number 15. That's wild. Tennessee with a massive win, 24-17. I got this prediction wrong. Lennon, Mike, Andrew all got it right, picking Tennessee.
Yeah, I think this is the game that pulled me ahead of you. I'm pretty sure
By a game.
By a game. I might give you a chance to come back this week, but we'll get into that. I hate Tennessee so much, and they're honest. I'm gonna, you know what? Fuck it, I'll say it. Tennessee is not that. I don't think they're that good.
No,
I really don't.
they're not. They're dancing through the raindrops.
They're a lucky team, and that's sometimes all you need. But they're not that. They're not. No, Tennessee is not. I don't even know where they're ranked now, but they're like such a fake number, whatever they are. They're not. Florida should have beat one. They lost to Arkansas. Florida should have beat them, and Tennessee should have beat Alabama. Bama's not that good either. I'll talk about them this whatever, but I had a feeling. I didn't trust Bama's. I didn't trust Alabama in this game. That's why I picked Tennessee. I didn't trust Bama more, or I trusted Tennessee more, if that makes sense. I know they're both really wishy-washy and not that good, but I trusted Tennessee more than I did Alabama. That's why I picked the Vols, and I was also watching that game in the stadium pregame, so that was fun. They had it on the jumbotron.
Oh, that's cool.
But hey, Tennessee making it a rivalry again. So, but yeah, Tennessee's not all that. I don't want to hear it.
Tennessee ranked number 7. They will be at home I think they're on the bye week this week, and then they're at home next week against Kentucky.
They'll beat Kentucky.
They'll beat Kentucky. That could be another stupidly weird, close one-possession game. Because Kentucky's weird. They can upset Ole Miss on the road, and then they'll roll over and die against Florida. So they're confusing. And then they lose to a point by Georgia. So
they held Georgia to 13.
The weirdest team in all of the SEC, in my opinion. They remind me a lot of Arkansas. They're either going to win in a crazy way or they're going to get blown the F out, and there is no in the middle.
You are correct.
Oh, boy. And on to a blowout.
Welcome to the SEC, Texas.
Oh, dear. Carson Beck threw 3 interceptions, and Georgia still won handily. Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to the SEC, Texas.
Last week I was a little crazy in the head with all the chaos going on, and I said that Texas was going to win by like 3 possessions. What I meant to say was Georgia was going to win by 3 possessions. No, I don't know. I should have known. Texas they've only played 3 SEC. They played 2 SEC games leading up to this game, and it was Mississippi State and Oklahoma, and they are both complete garbage. I'm sorry, they are. I should have known. And not only that, Texas managed to piss off Kirby Smart, and now I'm kind of scared to play the Bulldogs next week. But, hey, good for Georgia, man. Texas, welcome to the SEC. I'm so glad. I did not want Texas or Oklahoma to win the SEC their first year. I really didn't. And Texas still might. Maybe, though, if they got Vandy this week, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be a trap game, but we'll get into that. I don't know.
my whole big thing is Carson Beck threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
by
that's
far his worst game of the season, and they still freaking won by 2 possessions. And we hate to bring it up, but Trevor Etienne, unfortunately, was the vocal point of the Bulldogs offense, going for 3 touchdowns.
It's okay. He won't get more
for
than 2
obvious
yards.
reasons, but Gator bias aside from me and Lennon, he's been heating up these last couple of weeks, and he's been good, and he has been the number 1 option on this offense for the Bulldogs. I'd say about the last 2 to 3 games, he's been very solid.
Yeah, I tell you this right now, he's not rushing for more than 100 yards next week. But go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
Did you pick the win?
Didn't I pick Georgia?
No.
I picked Texas. I don't even remember.
Yeah, you picked Texas. I'm pretty
I was
sure.
going to pick Georgia.
Oh, that's right. No,
Yeah.
Mike was the only one to pick Georgia. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one to pick Alabama.
Yep.
Crap.
And that was,
Shucks.
That was wrong, though, but this one was correct. I was going to pick the right one.
All right. Well, we aren't even in our week 9 talk yet, but we got to quickly talk about whatever the hell happened on Wednesday. I'm sorry. Kennesaw State was next to Kent State for the worst team in college football Division I. Then they're up by 2 possessions the entire game against Liberty. Now, listen, I know Liberty was 5-0, and they're like every single year. I hate to say this. They are like always and will forever be like the most fraudulent, undefeated team left every single year.
Well,
their opponents. But, oh my God.
The one team you
lose to, I don't even care if you're on the road. You let some guy named Christian Moss catch 56 yards on you. The Owls are now 1-6. Flames dropped to 1-5. Liberty, any chance they had at being ranked this year, completely out the freaking window. And listen, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. They responded with a 66-3 victory the following week. Something's telling me Liberty, they're rattled and they're pretty much screwed. And they could potentially lose a couple more games this season. This is a loss that motivationally, Mike, kills a locker room.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's like when Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois is not ranked. They're not a good team, but they're not the worst team in college football. When you go up against a team that's the worst team in college football, like statistically in rank, and you lose to them by 2 possessions while you're undefeated, you just go in that locker room and you don't say a fucking word. You just sit there in silence because you understand. The whole team is just like, literally what happened.
And you want to know what's funny? And if they play 9 more times in a simulation, guess what? Liberty might win the 9 other times. That one loss in the simulation was the one they lost in real life.
Yeah.
I did. Also, to my knowledge, I do believe that is Kennesaw State's first ever win at the FBS level, but I'm not entirely sure because I know they were FCS for a while, but now they're D1, and I'm pretty sure that was their first ever win in D1. I'm not sure.
They stormed the field as they should.
Yeah, they should. Wednesday night madness, I guess. I didn't even know this game was on TV.
I was busy watching Capitals Flyers. What the hell was I doing with my evening? Anyways.
Yeah, I just happened to check ESPN and said, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Oh, ain't no way, man." Listen, Liberty, I've been like a big kind of supporter. Not supporter, but like
I wish Drew was on right now because he loves to take a dump on Liberty. He was loving every second of this, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, Liberty, you guys should never, ever. Liberty and college football playoffs should never be in the same sentence ever again. I'm sorry. You guys should get your whole entire D1 revoked. You guys need to go back down to FCS. But no, I mean, Liberty's a good school. It's a good college in Virginia. It's a beautiful campus, too. I've seen it It's just dude. No, Wednesday Night Madness. I guess that was something. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's it. Oh my god, speechless. I'm literally speechless.
I mean, oh man. Remember when Liberty had Malik Willis 2 years ago and they were actually like fun to watch?
Oh yeah, really, they were really fun.
Good times those were. No, that was back when they were actually a threat, being 5-0. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Moving on, Grayson McCall, NC State quarterback, announcing his retirement at age 23 due to multiple injuries to the head. Smart man, first and foremost. Has his NIL money. He has a great legacy, especially at Coastal Carolina. Was a 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year award winner with Coastal Carolina, leading them to multiple bowl games. It was a good run. He knew for the health of himself and his family, he wanted to call it quits. And I respect athletes who do this so much. They are caring for their mental health, and most importantly, they are caring for their family and their loved ones. If you have already suffered multiple head concussions, and you, especially in the case of Grayson McCall, where he isn't going to be like this first, second round pick caliber player, he'd be lucky if he was a day 3 pick, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And when you know you're not going to have that NFL draft status and the notoriety, sometimes it's best to save your mental health and your physical well-being. So congratulations to Grayson McCall on what was a pretty strong collegiate career. He threw 91 touchdowns, and again, probably the best quarterback Coastal Carolina has had in decades. So
ever.
I was about to say ever, if not decades, ever. So congratulations to Grayson on a great career. I don't know if you guys wanted to include anything, but I just wanted to say he's taken the right approach.
Yeah, no, he's definitely taken the right approach. And, like, you hate to see it in the way it did, but you also kind of love to see it that he's actually taken his health and his family's health priority.
He suffered major concussions. Yeah. You got to take that into consideration.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. But anyway.
Who was playing this Sunday anyways.
Anyway. Is he really playing? No,
yes, he is. Yeah. Without a guardian cap. Neither here or there. Alabama education for everyone out there. No, I'm kidding.
But. That's crazy. No, you're right. Because in the state of Alabama, Auburn is better for education. Just not. No, that's true. Auburn, for education, Auburn is better. But athletics, never.
Oh, Jesus. But, anyways.
Yeah, he's making the right decision for himself and his family, and I applaud him for that. For sure.
This is, I don't know if anyone watching or even London knows, but I did play high school football for all 4 years, and I have taken many helmet-to-helmet hits, but I never got a concussion, which I'm very lucky for that. But if you take a lot of helmet hits and get a concussion, multiple, you should opt out of playing football unless you have that NFL draft status.
And a boy, Mike. Yeah. Preaching the gospel. Former high school cornerback to my left here. Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. Spreading the good word. Congratulations, Grayson. Hell of a career, and a lot of fans of Coastal Carolina greatly appreciative of what you have done for that program. That was it in terms of, I guess, what we had planned. So now we're going to just dive into Jersey of the Week and our official Week 10 previews. Now, Lennon and this is the week where Ole Miss is debuting their, like, Rocky
Ocean helmets, I do believe.
Yes, and, like, those look great, but I've only seen the helmets.
They're wearing their normal home uniform.
That's what I thought.
Blue and the gray.
We didn't go for Ole Miss, though we, for the first time, we have a tie, almost a 3-way tie, but Western Kentucky's did not make the cut.
No.
However, these two powerhouses did. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, a draw. Miami and Oregon winning Jersey of the Week. And I got to say, This is amazing. Miami's jersey in particular, orange numbers, orange stripes on the helmet, super badass. And they're going to be wearing this during a primetime game. As for Oregon, they've worn these jerseys before. They've worn the dark helmets before, but very clean look. They have the team patch on the side. It looks really nice. The numbers are big and bright. I think this is a great idea, putting both of them as jersey of the week.
Yeah, dude, and I'll give Miami credit. They've had some sick Did you see their neon uniforms from a couple years ago? Those are so clean, and these are like right up there with those, man. Those are really, really, really sick. And I'm a sucker for Oregon always, so I always nominate Oregon every week.
Every week. Sometimes I have to say, we can't just.
I know we can't just pick Oregon, but like, come on, dude, that's the greatest uniform. But anyway, yeah, these were definitely the Boise State's rocking all white tonight against UNLV, which I want to talk about that at the end because that might be a really good game to watch.
We have our 5 games that will count towards our actual predictions, but
yeah,
we'll probably stay on and talk about another 3 or 4 games that didn't even make the cut because, wow, we have a lot of really good games this week. We thought week 7 was strong, and week 7 was a great week. And don't get me wrong, Oregon and Ohio State's like a top 3 game of the season so far. But this week, in terms of potential upsets, it's right up there. It's going to be a good week. And we're going to kick things off right away with the first game, starting at 12 o'clock. 12th ranked Notre Dame against 24th ranked Navy. Now, Navy comes into this game undefeated. Notre Dame, they have been on a tear ever since that loss against Northern Illinois. They have taken no prisoners, and they have been kicking teams' ass. So this is going to be interesting. Navy does have the home field advantage for this contest because, to my knowledge, it's not a neutral site game. So this should be very interesting. Who will be the first to predict?
I can go first.
Mike is going first.
I'm going Notre Dame here. Even though, yes, they do have a loss to Northern Illinois. After that loss, they have beaten teams just like it's their job to do. They come in, they whoop ass, and they leave. That's literally what has happened this entire time.
Yeah.
Navy's coming in undefeated. They come in, and they kind of like, they whoop ass too, but not as much as Notre Dame. They come in, and they whoop ass, and then they slow down, they whoop ass again. Notre Dame just whoop that ass and just. So, like,
I love whooping ass.
They come in, drop 40, and leave. And walk off, just like, all right, that's what we do. Next game.
Yeah. If this was earlier in the year, I probably would have picked Navy just because I was on the upset train early in the year. But there were 3 games this week that I was really thinking about picking all upsets, but I didn't. I only picked one upset, and we'll get into that. But I'm going to pick Notre Dame. But do not be surprised if Navy beats Notre Dame. Do not be surprised. This is going to be a really interesting game. But I'm going to pick the Fighting Irish. Just, I don't know, maybe it's the Army in me, but I want to pick the Fighting Irish in this one. But don't be surprised if Notre Dame takes another L.
I'm going to also pick the Fighting Irish, and it's just because their offense is more complete. Yeah. And though Navy's defense is obviously tremendous, they haven't played a team like Notre Dame this season. They've just been kind of beaten up on a lot of conference and like MAC schools. They haven't really gone out there and have faced a top 25 beast in Notre Dame. They're at home, so that will certainly be helpful for them. But I do think Navy suffers their first loss of the year. Notre Dame goes on, what would this be now, a 6-game winning streak? And they're going to be a tough team to stop. And with teams like Alabama and potentially Tennessee losing a second game, they may just squeak into the college football playoff, but they desperately need to win this game and every game moving forward for that to happen. Too much on the line to lose for the Fighting Irish, so I will pick Notre Dame in a 10-point win.
We're all rocking with the.
We're all going to rock the Fighting Irish. Interesting. Moving on. I feel like I made the games like we started off with maybe the most predictable one, and then we're kind of climbing up that ladder a little bit. That's why I normally do them by the start times, but certain weeks I'll mix it up and do by like entertaining. This game's going to be on at 3:30. 20th ranked Fighting Illini against the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks. Oregon is at home. Fighting Illini, though, they are 6-1. They just came off of an they embarrassed Michigan at home last week. A defensive clinic. And Oregon's offense, they're going to struggle mightily against this Fighting Illini defense. That ranks very high against the run. I am scared, and that is why I am picking Oregon, because I am scared that the Fighting Illini do not have the offense to keep up with Oregon. That being said, I think Oregon wins this game by 6. I think it comes down to a defensive stop. We just got word that Notre Dame and Navy is at a neutral site. None of that matters. We're going to go Oregon here. And I'm going to go 28-21. It's going to be a one-possession game.
Oregon, guys, I love you guys. Oregon, you guys were my national championship, or I had you guys in the national championship. You know what? I'm feeling a little bit on the wild side, I guess you could say. We have every time we have picked against Illinois, they've won, except for one time, and that's when they lost to Penn State. I picked Illinois to win last week. I'm feeling lucky with Illinois, so give me the upset. Oregon, I love you guys. I'm so sorry. Give me the Fighting Illini, baby. I'll be the brave one to take the risk with the Illini. Grant, I'm giving you a chance to make a comeback here.
I think their defense is gonna. I think Dylan Gabriel could have his worst game of the season right here. I do. I think that defense is scary.
They are.
I can't do it. They are the number 1 team in the country for.
They are, and rightfully so.
And they're at home. I can't do it. Mm-hmm. This would catapult Illinois into the top 15 with a win. It would. They would jump up the charts like you wouldn't believe, especially with their one loss being against Penn State. Oh my God! Wait a minute. So you predict Oregon losing?
Yes.
Now we have to start talking about Penn State being the 1 seed next week.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
They could.
Wow.
And Penn State's got Ohio State next week, so in Happy Valley.
They would do that. They would make Penn State 1. Oh my God. That's crazy.
Ohio State, I think if Georgia beats Oregon, Georgia will still be number 2 probably. So you got 1 versus 3 if Oregon loses. Either way, you get 3 versus 4 if Oregon wins and there's no crazy upsets on the top.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna I'm gonna hop on the tightrope and pick the Fighting Illini in a really close.
You are singing Electric Light Orchestra because you are in fact on the tightrope. All right, Mike, what do you got?
I pick Oregon to win this. Sure.
That's a sigh of relief.
like I would say only one reason only, and that's because I believe Ohio State's defense is better than the Fighting Illini's defense, and Oregon did beat Ohio State by a dumb play by Will Howard. So I think Oregon still wins it. even though like the offense that lost Ohio State the game, but they lost because they couldn't stop Oregon's offense. And if Ohio State's offense can't stop Oregon, I don't think Illinois can. So, Oregon.
Oh boy, Lennon, you've been notorious for making risky picks all year, but this one could have potentially been.
Hey, I'm 26-18. I'm way above 500. I'm chilling. But yeah, man, I'm taking a walk on the wild side. I'm just dropping all sorts of rock and roll references tonight. Take a walk on the wild side. But yeah, give me the fight in the line. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. On to this game I'm low-key not really looking forward to because I think I equally dislike both of these teams. Mississippi is now ranked 21st. Alabama now ranked at 15th. Alabama would pretty much be unranked with a loss. Whoever's losing this game will not be ranked next week. Mm-hmm. Now, Missouri, they were long before Liberty lost to Kennesaw State. They were the most fraudulent undefeated team. And then they got exposed, and now it's like I feel nothing watching Missouri anymore. Yeah, they only have one loss, but okay. They barely beat Auburn last week. And Auburn, they're good, but they're not great. And Alabama, they lost to now two teams in the top 25, both games by one possession. Alabama's losses look more convincing than Missouri wins, if that even makes sense. But roll tide, I expect Alabama to win this game 17-24 points. I really think this is going to be a blowout.
To me, this game is where Miami is like, okay, we lost 2 games. If we lose again, we're not making the playoffs. We need to make the win and the push now. And they're going to expose Missouri, I think. Even though I don't like Jalen Milroe as a quarterback, he's a fine quarterback, but he's not the best in any means. I don't like him that well. But he's in Alabama. You're an Alabama quarterback. You're gonna do good either way. It don't matter how you cut it.
Hey man, even AJ McCarron's considered a college football legend just because he played at Alabama.
Exactly.
Anyways, Lennon, you with us or are you feeling risky ×2?
Yeah, my pick for this game came down to my reasoning for picking Tennessee over Alabama is I trusted Tennessee more than I trust Alabama. I trust Missouri more than I trust Alabama. I think Kalen DeBoer has lost Alabama. I think he's lost the locker room a little bit. Now, maybe he can get it back together, and maybe I'm going to look like an idiot. But you know what? That's okay. I don't care. Nick Saban is not the coach of Alabama anymore. They have ruined my childhood, and I pray for their downfall. And if they lose to Missouri, who's also very fraudulent, yes, but I think Alabama is a bigger fraud. So
really,
I'm giving you a chance to take the lead for the first time this year.
Oh my God, Brady Cook's about to now Brady Cook's about to throw for 400 yards. Thanks a lot.
Give me the Tigers in this one, boy.
I wouldn't even be mad if Alabama lost. I'm gonna keep it real. Yeah. Me and Mike are keeping it real right now. If Alabama loses, great.
Yeah.
No way, bro. Missouri's way too shaky, way too inconsistent.
Alabama's inconsistent too.
Yes, but they've at least lost 2 games by a possession.
And they should have lost to South Carolina too. Let's not forget that. So
Missouri should have lost to Auburn.
True.
And they should have also lost to what was the second team they beat? The other close game.
Boston College.
Boston College was another game where if Bill O'Brien knew how to manage a game clock, maybe. Yeah. Maybe they would have won that one too.
I know my dad hates Missouri with a passion.
Actually.
Because he hates the way the jersey says Missouri instead of Missouri.
Yeah, that always confuses me.
Literally, like his main reason why he hates Missouri.
That's funny. Shout out to Mike's dad for giving the most hysterical reason to hate a sports team. Oh boy! No, I'm trying to hype this up. Mike just goes Texas. Texas wins by 50. Okay. Well, so Texas dropped from 1 to 5, and Vanderbilt, after 2 weeks of social media and probably Pat McAfee clamoring for this team to be ranked, they're only at 25, and that's fair because they had 2 losses. That was the other game when Missouri beat Vanderbilt in double overtime. That was the game I was thinking of.
Yeah, but Vandy's also really, or not really good. But Vandy's a good team now, so that's not really. You can't really say they,
No, but that was back when they were only 3-1 or whatever.
True.
Anyways, Mike's convinced Texas is winning. Okay, realistically, Texas should absolutely mop the floor because they're going to be pissed after losing to Georgia. Their defense played pretty well in the second half, and the offense just couldn't get going. I do expect Vanderbilt to lead in this game. At one point or another, I expect them to definitely be in the lead. And what I mean by that is they are going to be in the lead in some point during the fourth quarter.
No, he means they get the ball first, they score first touchdown. That's it.
No, I am set to believe Vanderbilt's defense is strong enough to hold Texas to a not explosive first half. Yeah, I'm picking Texas because I'm too scared to not pick Texas. But hey, Vanderbilt's gonna make this a very close game. I'm gonna go Texas wins by no more than 10. I expect them to have the lead in the second half, but realistically, experience is going to come around and be the factor here, and that's where Texas has the advantage, being the way more experienced team.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is going to win this game easily, I think. Vanderbilt beating Alabama was a fluke game. It's more or less Alabama just came in we're going to beat this team way too confident, and then Vanderbilt was like, we have a chance to win this whole game. And then they just went down the field and won. Texas is coming in we cannot overestimate this team. We need to come in and prove that when we were the number one team in the country was not a joke. We are the number one team. They think they're the number one team, so they're going to come in and try and prove to everyone that they are the number one team in the country, even though ranked not really, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to comment on 2 things before I pick this game. One, thank you, Grant, for using the old school Vandy logo. They need to bring the star back. I hate the new.
Oh yeah, no, it was the only thing that wasn't going to look stupid on the slide anyway.
Second of all, I cannot believe that, or never would I have ever thought that we're talking about a top 25 ranked Vanderbilt in football playing against the Texas Longhorns. Hi, Sam. I was not scared enough. I was risky enough to pick Illinois, and I was risky enough to pick Missouri. I'm scared to pick Vanderbilt. So
do it.
I'm picking. No, I can't risk. I cannot. I can only afford to fall behind 2 games if I do lose both of these guys. I can't afford
one shot. One opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted.
All right, Mark.
I'm gonna let it go. Go Texas. Sorry, Hook. Vandy keeps this close. Vandy keeps this close, but Texas is gonna bounce back in a big way.
Oh my goodness! All right, well, me and London we were hyping it up a little bit. Didn't go for it, but we were hyping it up a little bit. Mike just said, screw this. We're going to make this not interesting at all, and we're just going to breeze by this one real quick. On to the last game that'll count to the record. Again, we will talk about a few more games that are on the schedule. But every single game we talked about, they are a ranked team versus a ranked team. And we're going to wrap it up with, I think, will be the closest game this week. Number 8 LSU on the road against number 14 Texas A&M.
Yep.
Now, the Aggies have looked really strong, of course, since they embarrassed the Gators in the swamp. They've really just kind of used that win, and they haven't lost since, and they have been very impressive. Their defense is very strong, especially against the run. I also think their rushing attack is pretty solid as well. This is the team that did, in fact, expose Missouri to be the frauds they are. This offense can rack up points.
Yes.
LSU can also rack up points, and this is going to be very interesting. I expect that now LSU's defense is very good, but I also expect this to be a shootout. And I think both rushing attacks are going to be really efficient. 38-35 Aggies.
Ooh.
Why not? Why not? We'll get a little risky. I'll pick Texas because they're at home. If LSU's at home, I expect LSU to win. But I'll go for the risk and say Texas A&M's defense does just enough to pull out a win. Just enough.
This is gonna be a very good game, and I cannot wait to watch it. You got LSU rocking all white and A&M rocking all black with scripted Aggies. I could have taken a book out of Florida's playbook, and they're gonna have the scripted Aggies across the helmet. So that I think both of those uniforms could have been up there too, but I think we made the right decision. Anyway, this game, both of these teams are 3-0 in conference play. Both of these teams have looked really, really, really good. This is I think LSU's defense is just a little bit better than Texas A&M. I think LSU continues to roll in a close game shootout. Probably something close to what Grant said, but I'm going to take the Tigers in this one.
Ooh, okay, Mike. You're the deciding factor here.
I'm also picking LSU to win this game.
Oh, so unoriginal.
LSU is just better than the Aggies to me. Yes, the Aggies have looked good, and they did expose Missouri, but I mean, exposing Missouri does not mean you're a good team. You exposed a bad team. Well, LSU is going in and versing teams that are good and exposing good teams to not what they actually are. LSU, to me, just has a better offense, a better defense than the Aggies have.
Keep in mind, next week will also be LSU versus Alabama.
Oh, Tigers.
And all I'm going to say is don't be shocked if they slightly overlook A&M. Here's the rest of LSU's schedule after this week. They have Alabama. They're on their bye week next week. The week after, they have Alabama, Florida on the Swamp, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. That is an incredible 5-game stretch. Not to mention they just beat Ole Miss 2 weeks ago in an overtime thriller. That is a crazy final 7 games. And eventually you're gonna – well, they beat Arkansas last week, and that was that. But this is one of those games where you maybe expect LSU to win next week, but then they're going to drop this week. This is a crazy tough end of the season schedule for the Tigers. They're probably bound to drop one more. I don't think they go into the playoffs, but their only loss being the week 1 game against the Trojans. I don't think that's happening. They found their quarterback. They found a strong defense. And they're going to continue to dominate, and they're going to finish in the top 25, no question. But I will go with Texas A&M because their rushing is efficient and their defense against the run is also very efficient. LSU can win this game through the air. So it'll be very interesting.
I don't A&M has looked good. Even though they're at home, I don't know if I fully trust the Aggies enough to beat LSU. So for that reason, bro. When was the date? I forgot the date. But before they before they ruined overtime, these two teams had an 8 overtime thriller. It was like 74-72.
Oh yeah,
Great game. I remember
2018.
watching.
Kellen Mond versus Joe Burrow.
Yep, and Kellen Mond beat Joe Burrow. How about that?
Yeah.
And now one's in the UFL and the other one started a Super Bowl. Ah, crazy how that works, isn't it? Ugh.
Yep.
Moving on to other Week 9 games. Now, we won't count these towards the overall prediction, but we got some banger matchups. Let's begin. 5-2 Nebraska against 4th-ranked Ohio State that are 5-1. Huge Big Ten conference. And I expect Ohio State to win, but hey, Dylan Raiola, he's done his part this year, and he's looked strong, Mike. I know you're pretty high on him.
I'm not so much Dylan Mulbride, just Nebraska in general. I am high on Dylan Mulbride, but Nebraska, throughout the years, again, wrestling, I'm a big wrestling fan. They're pretty good in wrestling. But Nebraska always, it's an athletic school. Nebraska literally just has athletic people on every single sport that they have. I do think Ohio State will win this game, but Nebraska will definitely make this close.
Nebraska, whoever they played last week, they just got embarrassed. So I'm gonna rock with. I was gonna pick the Buckeyes anyway, but after seeing Nebraska last week, I think I'm gonna pick the Buckeyes like 1,000 times more. So go.
That's fair.
I'm gonna pick the Buckeyes. Ohio State bounces back and gets a win.
Next matchup, also on 12 o'clock, this one on ESPN. 4-3 Oklahoma against 18th-ranked Ole Miss that come into this one at 5-2. I have Ole Miss winning this one by 10, and Oklahoma is going to be 500, which is shocking that they'll have the same record of the loser of tonight's Louisville-Boston College game, but I mean, Oklahoma kind of felt like they bit off more than they could chew in the first couple of weeks. Their offense was very efficient until it wasn't, and they looked dominant until Tennessee kind of exposed them. They haven't been in the top 25 since, and they haven't looked like a confident offense since that game. So, give me the Rebels to win that one in their brand new, beautiful-looking helmets.
Yeah, you know what they say about Oklahoma, right? Overrated university.
Overrated.
Go Red. Sorry, I hate Oklahoma as
We
much.
know you talk about it every week.
Go Rebels. Ole Miss by 1,000,000.
All right. So how much is Miami beating Florida State by? 50. Good answer. Next one, Penn State against Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting, too. Big Ten matchup. Penn State obviously comes in this week ranked 3rd at 6-0, but Wisconsin's 5-2, and they haven't beat anyone crazy impressive. But if they wanted to get some ranked recognition, a win against Penn State Wisconsin's going to be at home. Primetime 7:30 on NBC. I'm going to go Penn State wins by 3, but the fact that they were taken into overtime 2 weeks ago, I think makes Penn State look very, very vulnerable. And again, when you're playing Ohio State the following week, there's that tendency to potentially overlook a matchup like this, even though Wisconsin is still a very good team. Give me Penn State by 3.
I would call this a trap game for Penn State, but I think Penn State's going to they're going to win. Penn State's going to win, but they can't. I know it's hard to overlook. I know it's hard it's hard to not overlook Wisconsin when you play Ohio State next week, but you guys have to take this one game at a time. Penn State is very vulnerable. You are correct. But I think Penn State is just slightly better than Wisconsin, and that's going to propel them over. And then we get a potential if cards fall right, we could get a 1 versus 2 matchup next week, or 1 versus 3. We're going to get a top 5 matchup unless Penn State loses. So either way, that's going to be a great game. But be careful, Penn State. Don't sleep on the Badgers, especially in Camp Randall Stadium, in the jump around, which is also really sick. I want to go see that.
Oh yeah.
I'm in the South, so I've only been to like Southern football. I've never been like to Northern games. So I would
Come
love
to Boston College. We'll make it interesting, I swear. We will not make it boring.
I was thinking more Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, kind of for Northern football. But yeah, sure. If I'm ever in Boston, I'll wear my Yankee stuff in
Okay.
Lemon, do you want to get killed?
He wants to get beat up at Fenway. I see where this is going.
I do want to go to Fenway.
Last game we'll preview tonight. Oh, wait a minute. No, you go, Mike.
Yeah, the Wisconsin-Penn State game, I think that's going to be the Nebraska-Ohio State game.
Oh, damn.
I will pick Penn State to win it, but again, Wisconsin, they're always like a team that is good, but it's just not ranked. They always have like athletic people, always just really good. But
they have athletic people. That's great insight.
That's an insight.
They have an athletic school. Like no matter where you look, that sport that they have is most likely going to be like at least in the top like 50. Even though I do have Penn State winning this game, Wisconsin again, I think we'll make it within at least like 10.
No, that's reasonable. Moving on to our last game we will preview. On the night, the now 17 touchdowns scored, Ashton Gentry is on the road against UNLV. 5-1 against 6-1. Boise State comes into this week ranked 17th. Kickoff at, oh my God, 10:30 tonight on CBS Sports. Maybe something to watch after the World Series. This is going to be an extremely fun, zero defense. Don't worry. The Pac-12 is coming back in 2026. This will be an unofficial Pac-12 game.
Yep.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this guy loves Ashton Gentry.
I do. He should win the Heisman. It's ridiculous. Anyways.
Grant, I'm with you 100%. He should win the Heisman.
Yeah, Mr. Cam Ward supporter over here.
No, get out of here, bro. No.
I do think
get out of here.
What if Cam Ward can, if Ashton Gentry does get that big a bad game or hurt?
Heismans have to win their conference championship game, and Miami's never won. The last time Miami won a conference championship, the Big East was still around. So
we also never had Cam Ward before.
Sorry.
We haven't been 6-0 for like years.
Hey,
going from Tyler Van Dyke to Cam Ward is crazy. Anyways,
I'm gonna the Boise State's rushing attack is just Broncos win.
Broncos country. Yes,
that's right.
No left right. Just go Broncos country.
Yeah.
What am I, Russell Wilson?
Give me the Broncos.
Yeah, not Broncos again.
Although if UNLV wins, they're gonna be 7-1. That'll be interesting. I think you got to put them in the ranked conversation again. I knew they were until when they lost to Syracuse, was it? I think so.
Yeah.
And then they've won out since then, and that loss to Syracuse was like 3 weeks ago. So, hey, maybe UNLV gets a shot at being in the top 25 and they get a chance to participate in a really good bowl game. And for a school like UNLV, an important bowl game is so huge, especially, obviously it's huge for recruiting, but for UNLV that's been a small football program for the last 5 to 7 years, that is huge for them to get national recognition. So we'll see what happens. Should be a good one. Hopefully it will be a good enough game where we can recap it next week. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up Season 2, Episode 10 of Campus Gridiron. Week 9 predictions in the books. Lennon getting a little bit risky, picking Missouri, picking oh my goodness, and he also picked Illinois over Oregon, and I'm getting a little risky myself, picking Texas A&M over LSU. Yeah, well, Mike, I know what you want to talk about. Cam Ward extending his 300-yard, 3-touchdown streak. Obviously, he's going to do it. But realistically, if you could pick one game this season where he might not do it, what game are you picking?
I'll pick a game we would play.
No.
Okay. Then probably the Georgia Tech game.
Georgia Tech game? I agree. I think so, too.
All right, boys. I gotta go watch the World Series. Yankees in 6. Don't forget
Well,
it.
we're about to go watch the World Series as well. Also, Boston College just scored a touchdown. So
There you go.
oh my goodness, we're gonna have the double box. Scott Hansen ain't gonna know what hit him. We're gonna have a crazy double box. And then when when the Boise State game starts, we're gonna have a triple box. It's gonna be amazing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoyed Season 2, Episode 10 of Campus Gridiron. I'm Grant Flood along with Michael Cartosa and Lennon Lay. We will see you next week.